Screw fucking sleep. I must magical girl.
Alright, before I start, any Monster Hunter fans who have joined us, you can see if this video is your cup of tea, and if it ain't, feel free to just wait for more Monster Hunter content. They're coming, I swear. Okay, to the video. Last episode, we tested to see whether Magical Mallet had an unfair probability of being a useless piece of shit. If you want to see how that went, go check that one. But let me tell you, that shit took forever to I'm talking at least a week finishing work, mindlessly collecting data, and it showed its card game. Before Extra Shoddy asked about my mental state. And so, I've resolved to never, ever do another probability checking video. Ever. Again. A lot of you folks were kind enough to point out that the whimsical Red Hammer isn't the singular source of every broken RNG theory game. There's many. And one of them is Reload, which I'm not testing today, but I had to mention. Because could we talk about this card art? Is this man reloading ancient Egyptian firearm lined with hieroglyphics? Is this a magazine pyramid? But what the fuck? I thought this was a TCG censoring or something. But no, the OCG version looks exactly like this too. Oh hey look, Jedi Deft again. Anyway, I just thought I would point that out to you guys. Plus, while we won't be testing Reload today, we will be testing out a Reload skill. Level 5 Reload is a pretty simple skill. You take a level 5 monster in your deck, hand it back to your deck takes a quick look, and then it gives it back to you. Ah ha ha ha. Just kidding. Or, maybe not. That's actually what we're here today to find out. And to find out, we're once again gonna need a deck. What do you think I should use? Demon of the Abyss? Use Madolches. Well, you heard of them. What a great choice. As Madolches have their own level 5 garment. Here's the deck I'm going to be using to test. It has 3 reload targets and 17 garments. How will the test work? I'm going to make sure that when I test the skill, I have 2 puddings in the deck, 15 cards in the deck, and 1 pudding in hand. Why so specific? Honestly, it's to make my life easier. I'm hoping that it's going to be more consistent to have the ability
Why are
to
these
search
guys
for
still
it
so fast
first,
actually?
and
What
just
the
hope
fuck?
I have one. Going second, why are this still magical mallets? Good question. I have the magical mallets here in case I need to do some finagling on my hand before activating the skill. And now, it's time to stop talking and start testing. It's been nice knowing you guys. Oh, wait, maybe I'll get someone to help me or something. This took even longer than last time. Everyone in Legend has effect fail. Kept blasting my pudding search, and sometimes I would open multiple pudding which would be fine if I opened some mallets. The only real problem is if I open 3 pudding and no mallets. And oh, wait, look, there it is. Well, let's look at the numbers. Once again, I tested 200 times, and I got 44 times I returned a pudding and got back a pudding. The expected rate I should be getting is 3 out of 15, or 20% of the time, and 44 out of 200. And I don't know guys, I used to think this skill was broken too, but like, this looks pretty fair to me, at least from the way I did my test, and to separate us from the beasts. Okay, so I have a bit of a confession. Last time, I definitely messed up my key value calculations. Luckily for us, we were calculating parts or value, since our numbers were honestly pretty close. So thanks to Mary and Laura for helping me figure it out. And also thanks to them, I realized that for this type of problem, I can just use binomial distribution and just calculate the chances of it being outside the bounds or something like that. It's not symmetric, but luckily for us, there are calculators you can use to calculate this for us. And yeah, high p-value. Honestly, we're pretty close to what we were expecting. So, what did we learn today? We learned that suffering is a part of life, and through that suffering, that level 5 reload is mostly, probably, likely not broken, at least for the way I tested it. Now, if you think it is broken, or have a problem with the way I did the test, I urge you to set up a deck in the way that you think is the most unfair from a level 5 reload perspective. Sit down and test 200 trials in ranked PvP. I would be more than happy to see the results you get as well. And with that said, thank you guys for watching. You can probably tell, but I'm going to be juggling these videos and Monster Hunter ones because I am incredibly excited for Wilds to come out. So if you're interested in what you've seen, check out more, or subscribe and wait for the ones you like to come. Bye everybody. Bye.
You're going forward through time 1 second to every second. Congratulations, you're a time traveller. A bit lame, but let's start here to get to the fun of real time travel to ride on dinosaurs and high-five Einstein. Time is a really thing that passes, but a dimension, the direction you can move in. Think our universe is 4-dimensional, with 3 spatial and 1 time dimensions smooshed together into a fancy thing we call space-time. What you experience as time passing and your life happening is actually you living through the time dimension, and this dimension is a bummer. While you can go forward, backward, left and right, up and down in the space dimensions, in time you can only go forward. You only get older, never younger. You can't make detours. But this is an illusion. Have far more control over how you move through time. To explain how this actually works, without making a mass video, we have to make a lot of physicists grumpy, so please keep in mind that we're simplifying and lying a bit. Okay, so there's a very strange rule. Everything in our universe moves at the speed of light through 4-dimensional space-time. Your speed through space-time is the sum of your separate speeds through time and space. It's impossible for you to stay still. Even if you're not moving through space dimensions, you're moving through the time dimension, blasting face first into the future. You can slow down in the time dimension by moving faster through the space dimensions, but in total, you will always move at the speed of light through space-time. If you could somehow truly stand still in space, you'd still move through time with the speed of light, and the other way around. Photons, light particles, move at the speed of light through space. They don't experience any time passing because their speed in that time dimension is 0. In the time dimension, they're frozen in place. If you see light on Earth, from the photon's perspective, it was just on the surface of the sun and suddenly crashed into your eye, nothing happening in between. Remember, we're telling a science story here. In real life, things are more complicated. For one, it's impossible to truly stand still relative to space itself. You can only be standing still relative to other things in space. And you can't really define a reference frame for photons as we just did. For details, check out our sources. But now, back to our story. Okay, so everything in the universe moves at the same breathtaking speed, but this speed is split between space and time, which leads to all sorts of wacky things, and where we can see time travel happen. Real easy time travel. When a bus drives past you, it's moving a little bit faster through space than you are, so it moves slower through time than you. Or how it's usually worded, the bus is moving slower through time relative to you. While this makes things feel like weird physics magic, it's very simple. Move faster through space, go slower in time. Move slower through space, go faster in time. And if you had another person moving way faster or slower than you, both end up travelling different distances in the time dimension. The story that's usually told to demonstrate this is to get twins. Force one of them into a rocket against their will, shoot them through space super fast while the other twin chills on Earth. And because one twin moves very fast through space, while the other moves slowly on Earth, they move at different speeds through time. When the rocket finally gets home, are the same age, and the younger space twin is ready to start years of therapy for being abducted by theoretical physicists. This is paradox, and it makes perfect sense within the rules of the universe. If you want to learn more about paradoxes of time, we made a video about it. But in a nutshell, we're using time dilation, the fact that your position in time is subjective and only true for yourself. With sufficiently fast rockets, you can get as far as you want into the future. Technically, this way you can miss the end of the universe or look at the final thing that will ever happen. We also make videos about that. We should mention that there's another way to jump forward in time. Massive objects bend into space-time, causing time to go slower near them. On Earth, the effect is tiny. The gravity of our planet makes time pass at 0.0000007% slower than in deep space, far from any gravitational fields. Hardly useful for time travel since the start. If you move into a really strong gravitational field, like around a black hole, the closer you get to the event horizon, the slower time passes for you. If we kidnap our twin again, they won't notice it at all. The watch ticks as fast as it always does. From the outside, they seem to almost stand still. Only when the twin leaves the gravitational field and comes back to Earth do they realise they've time traveled. Okay, so you can time travel to the future by going fast or near a black hole. It's pretty lame and has literally only downsides, except for people who want to sort of teleport into the future. And it makes building a gigantic human space empire super hard, because even if we developed the technology to go really super fast between stars, going on a faraway journey always mean leaving your home as you knew it forever. Now that we know all of this, there's actually a way we could use the rules of our universe to travel backwards through time. The past is a faraway land. Let's go there. So you always move through space-time at the speed of light. If you go fast through the space dimension, you slow down in the time dimension. And here we find an actual opening for backwards time travel. Theory of relativity, which may be the most solid scientific theory we know, does not forbid faster than light motion through space. If you move through the space dimension faster than the speed of light, supermoon, you need to move through the time dimension with negative speed. That means you go backwards through time relative to the rest of the universe into the past. Actually, scientists have been looking for superluminal particles and given them a name, tachyons. They could exist and would have wild properties like getting faster when they lose energy and, of course, travelling backwards in time. And finally, pure time travel. Just like with photons, it isn't really possible to clearly define how time passes for tachyons themselves. It depends on how you move through space-time relative to them. But now, for the first time, some observers can actually see tachyons literally travelling backwards in time, which means they could be used to directly interact with the past. In theory, you could use them to send messages to your past self and change all sorts of things that have already happened. Maybe with some tachyon-powered sci-fi future tech, you could see a star die before it was born, meet your great-grandparents, prevent your past self from making that one dumb mistake, lottery or get eaten by dinosaurs, and create juicy time paradoxes that also kind of break the universe. But what's that? Right. It seems there are things in our universe that are impossible to mix. Unfortunately, the theory of relativity specifically forbids anything that starts out travelling slower than the speed of light to reach the speed of light, because moving faster through space requires energy, and the energy required to reach the speed of light is literally infinite. Even if you could gather all the energy of the universe, you couldn't accelerate a grain of sand to the speed of light. You can get as close as you like, but you can never reach it. It is possible to move at the speed of light as photons do, but they always move at the speed of light. If you move superluminally, you will always move superluminally. And sadly, so far, we don't have the tiniest bit of evidence that tachyons exist. While they work on paper, the scientists think they're not real. So for now, it seems that time travel into the past is strictly impossible, no matter how hard we try. The past is a faraway land, and while we can look at it in pictures and movies and our memories, it's locked away, forever outside of our reach. While this is sad, it leaves you with the most important time there is, right now, the moment where you actually exist, and a future that's yours to forge. If you want, you can even time travel to it. Luckily, shaping the future is much easier than trying to change the past. With the right knowledge and problem-solving skills, you'll be ready for whatever obstacles or opportunities lie ahead, which is where our friends at Brilliant come in. Brilliant will make you a better thinker and problem solver with thousands of interactive, bite-sized lessons on just about anything you may be curious about. Maths, technology, data analysis, and beyond. You can build real knowledge in just minutes a day. A terrific use of your precious present moments. On Brilliant, you'll learn through discovery, by trying things yourself. Their course on scientific thinking, for example, gets you hands-on with fascinating questions like the ones in this video. And since each course is like an immersive workshop, you'll gain knowledge of key concepts while building your intuition, helping you learn to think like a scientist. Kurzgesagt has also partnered with Brilliant to create a series of lessons to take your scientific knowledge to the next level. Each one is like a one-on-one version of a Kurzgesagt video, letting you further explore the topics of popular videos like rabies, mammalian metabolism, or climate science and supernovae. And you can get started whenever, wherever, right from whatever device you like. To get hands-on with Kurzgesagt.
If the young kids are going to take over, hey, let's show them that the old crowd isn't done.
Matt Martin is one of the best NES Tetris players in the world. He's here today to play in his first pro tournament of the 2024 Tetris season, a Kansas City Regional Championship. But while most of the top players are in their teens or early 20s, Matt is an astounding 38 years old, nearly twice the typical age.
We don't just want a bunch of teams, we want a variety of players, and Matt is definitely that middle-aged guy that we don't have. We need more masters like that.
This is the story of Matt's journey of overcoming the odds to still compete and try to
Why?
win.
That's ages.
Some of my earliest memories, 5 or 6, Game Boy Tetris and NES Tetris, playing with my dad and family and all that. What I connected to in the game back in the day was like I zoned out, it was chill, like it relaxed me in a way. And I think a lot of us find that in Tetris, like it's chill. My favorite aspect now is not that, because then I got very competitive. It started with King of Kong, and then finding other documentaries about games, because I wanted to know the best in the world. That led me to see a order online and be like, oh, there's other players like Jonas, Harry, these guys. So I started chasing and grinding. So when I first got in the scene and made it out was in Texas for the Southern Regional. I was up against some people that were awesome, and I was like, oh, these are the big players. Can I do it? I played some really top players, Josh Tolles, Jake Stein, and instant win, and it was kind of out of nowhere, and it was like, oh, who's this dude? We don't know who this is.
Ever event. Matt's prize for winning the regional tournament was a free trip to Portland, Oregon to compete in the annual Tetris World Championships.
I was like, all right, hey, if I can find my way there, we'll see how I stack up against the world class. And then I ended up facing
Stack up.
Kenny, like Harry Home, dream matchup for me. And it kind of went my way unexpectedly.
After a huge upset against the world champ in the top 32, Matt ended up making it all the way to the top 8 before running into a teenager named Batboy.
A rough situation here for Matt. It's another long run. It's not gonna happen.
His peak competitively was 2019. Him and Batboy both make the top 8. He was the up-and-coming middle-aged guy. And then the 2019 wave hit with all the rollers and the tappers.
When Matt had started competing, most players were still around his age and used the traditional controller technique called DAS. But videos of the tournaments had started to go viral on YouTube and had prompted a bunch of teenagers to start playing with new methods of moving pieces faster, such as hyper-tapping and bowling. By 2023, Matt was one of only 2 people over the age of 30 to still be able to make it into the World Championships.
The way the game has evolved is so crazy. Like, so 2019 was chill. It was me meeting legends. I'm a super underdog. And then 2023, I find myself in the most awkward photo of my life of, I'm so out of place here. I'm this, like, suddenly aged person, which I didn't feel until now.
Incredibly, though, Matt had stayed at the top while still competing with the playstyle from his generation.
Yeah, that tends to happen at that age, apparently.
Yes, always. When I throw controllers around, I just go back to my local gas.
Game Boy still trying to survive, and there's that drop at the 17,000. Matt Martin takes game 3.
Well, just takes one mistake from the roller to give it that advantage.
To stick it out and to continue to play and try to improve when you're not really sure where you fit in competitively. Like, says a lot about the character of Matt. I'm really impressed at his fortitude. It's great to see him here.
Matt traveled from his hometown in Oklahoma to Kansas City, Missouri for the tournament after another community member had offered him a place to stay in a Discord message.
You find yourself going to the Tetris event. That's how I showed up this time. You end up in somebody you don't know's basement as the dream man cave. We're just looking around and marveling at his stuff here. So I'm an artist too, and like find similar interests like this project. It's just very cool. Like you never know what you're gonna find, who you're gonna meet.
In addition to Tetris, Matt is also a talented artist and published children's book author.
That's the dream that I finally won right. So the inspiration for the story is from Psalm 23. It's like a rhyming book. My dream is to be the Dr. Seuss style. But yeah, I did the writing, all the art. Usually it was designed for an iPad. My sis helped make it into a portrait art company that we're trying to do. Studio. So the word just made sense in a lot of ways. Quirky and things don't always work right. It's all finicky. So I've dabbled in art for Tetris. I've drawn up some doodles, but like Jonas might look like as a cartoon character, or a Kingsman, or Sharky, and you know, some of the notable figures that I've met along the way.
The first part of the tournament is the qualifying stage.
Qualifying about an hour to get your highest score. Do your best in an hour and then see where you stack up to try to get a spot in the 12-player bracket. My goal in 5 games is to get a max out or 2 if I can. A max out is 1,000,000 points, basically. On the scoreboard, it stops at 999,999. That's a max out.
I just realized, do these locked places in the hardscape open up once we reach a certain talent level for the characters?
Questions asked.
When the character figuratively and literally opens up to us? If so, 1, that's kinda cool, but 2, that's really cringe.
So, Matt asks Scooty's mother if he can have one of the extra Scooty fan club shirts they brought. And after he sits down next to Scooty to qualify, he puts on the shirt before beginning his games. In order to get a max out, Matt must clear 4 lines at once, aka Tetris, for around 60% of the total lines before level 29, which is too fast for Das. Very quickly, Matt gets on an outstanding pace of 694,000 at the transition to level 19, but is playing extremely aggressive, and eventually has one bad misstrat in his game on level 23.
Oh man. Come on.
Meanwhile, Scooty's continuing since he did start. He has started.
気合い入れてこ。次の行き先はと。よし、決めた。気合い入れてこ。
max, and I was just having fun at that point. I qualified in the right spot for me, where my skill level is.
Matt's 994,000 tiebreaker score actually ended up being significant, as another roller DMJ also only had 1 max out going into his final game and was unable to beat Matt's tiebreaker.
Kenny Burton's down. That square not getting to the left is probably going to do it, and that'll leave him at 6th seed.
Not only did Matt end up being the highest qualifying DAS player, he also managed to finish above one of the rollers.
So the DAS overcame the roll for this one moment, for a second. Yeah. It's cool.
Meanwhile, Blue Scooty had nabbed the #1 seed with an incredible 8 max outs.
So I got to qualify next to this kid. I was already a fan, but during it, I heard his family, and they made shirts for him. I'm a Blue Scooty fan. Turned around. There's this, though. He is the Blue Scooty. Players from all over the world, and then you find people like this, one of the top players, Oklahoma. We're just like an hour and a half away, so it's really cool.
I know he's from the 2019 Davis. I think that's like one of the top players fall back and still like a top master.
Yeah, thanks, man. Still trying.
Yeah, I don't know how he's still.
Matt enters the knockout stage bracket as the 5th seed. The first-round opponent of Snow Golfing also goes by her real name, Una.
Heading first round with Una. Oh gosh, I'm excited. She's a friend. Honestly, I'm a little mixed because I want to keep going, but I'm also like, I want her to keep going too.
He's a pretty cool guy. I mean, all the interactions I've had, he's really sweet, and we developed a really good friendship over the years.
All players are ready. Let's get this counter down in 3, 2, 1. Patrick!
In the knockout stage, players face off head-to-head, and the highest score wins. Best 2 out of 3 wins the set.
Game 1 was a strat. I thought I had a strategy to take my opponent out. I thought I could just safety it out, but she was going toe-to-toe and kept the lead the whole time.
Is still ahead by the level 19 transition and playing very aggressive.
Oh my god, it's an actual girl.
At the top here is gonna need a long bar soon. Guess a long bar.
One more bar here.
Oh, dirty Tetris
For Una here. So I was like, okay.
I know that's sexist for me to say.
I could just play it. Like, I don't know. My strap went out the window.
Matt kicks things up a notch and manages to catch up by the time
Like,
his game
someone
ends.
calls a person in a gaming event a she, her, I immediately default to thinking they're just a trans person.
Get caught. It's weird that the stream died. Nobody saw it. No. Game 2, I topped out so quick.
Matt gets stuck in a high dig, and a few fatal misdrops even up the set.
Need some really favorable pieces here. Good dash control. Pieces left and right. Gets a bar. Hangs the bar. And Moun's gonna top it as well. And Snow Golf Gal is gonna take game 2.
Game 3, similar to game, I kind of went back to the strategy. I kind of like, hey, just survive.
In the winner-takes-all game 3, Matt plays it safe, while Una goes for an incredibly high Tetris.
He's going dirty here. Needs a bar now. Where's the bar? Not gonna get the bar. It's gonna top out at 198,000.
Good.
He's a really great player, like an OG type player, and I'm really impressed with how much he's improved.
Matt's top 8 opponent, Miles the Great, is the most popular Tetris player on social media, with over 200,000 followers on TikTok.
My next round is versus an elite player, Miles. It's awesome to play against him, and like all over the social medias with his rolls, the 8 roll. Last time he and Miles met up, I actually did beat him in a pretty great yes.
Oh, but a hanger on an L there for Miles. And Matt puts him to bed.
I'll put that on his head, in his ear right as we sit down. I'm like, what's up, bro? I took you down last time, so.
3, 2, 1. Tetris.
In game 1, by the level 19 transition, Miles has built up over a 100,000 point lead. Matt is forced to take risks to catch up, and things don't work out.
Matt Martin getting really high up. It's gonna the spire. It's gonna die 472,000.
You know, Death can still take them once in a while, but when they're in the zone, player like that, he's just gonna do his thing.
Matt must win game 2 to avoid elimination. Miles builds up another big lead, but transitions to level 19 with a messy board, unable to score Tetrises. And Matt's aggression pays off this time.
This is the opportunity Matt Martin needs to catch back up.
Soon though, Matt gets in a dig at a near fatal height for a DAS player.
Matt, some last second shifts. Amazing adjustment for the piece there. It needs an L or a quick tap. Gets a quick tap. And amazing delayed long bar bird. Uju's S bird there. Gets the bar over and an L. Looks like he might get out of this alive. And the O piece. An amazing dig for Matt Martin there. But unfortunately, is behind by 170,000 points here.
Knocks it down though. Matt is still in this, folks.
Matt keeps pace with Miles for another level, but ends up making an unrecoverable misdrop on level 26.
Matt Martin at 612. Matt Martin hangs. Just looking to survive here. Actually, cannot get a bar over. Is going to need a 9 left.
That's going to do it. Miles takes the match. GG's.
Playing the roller is awesome. Just an honor to play against him, but we kind of knew how that'd play out.
It was so fun to play him. I was really looking forward to that because we played before online. He actually beat me, and maybe a little bit of payback there. So we're still 1-1. We got to settle the score later.
Side note, like, legit, I try to stream sometimes, but Miles is legit and content and Tetris not. So I'm really just hoping he and I can like talk more about like him helping me be a real streamer someday.
You have to always be a student. You can't go in thinking like, oh, it's the algorithm that's hurting me. You have to think, okay, how can I improve? I've always been looking at people who have more subs or more views, trying to see what they do, and I upload daily content. I stream for about 2 hours a day. I put in the work, and it's really paid off.
I'm excited to see the rest of the tournament here before we leave the venue. Between you and me, who's going to win? I think Scooty. I mean, that's my guess.
Scooty ends up sweeping Miles in the semifinals and Rhubarb in the finals to make Matt's prediction come true.
I did not expect to even win. I don't know.
So I wondered if I was best in the world when I was a kid, right? And then realizing through 2019 and 23, it's not me. So then I reduced it. Am I the best player in Oklahoma? Maybe I still can be the best player where I'm from, but Blue Scooty showing up, it's like, oh, the skill gap between Oklahoma's number 1 and 2 is huge, but it's so touching, it's so cool to me to know him and his family and get to know him and be like, oh, Oklahoma's represent.
Nobody knew it at the time, but just a few weeks afterwards, Scooty would become the first person in history to crash the game and put Oklahoma in the international spotlight, along with becoming the first esports player to make it into the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame. As for Matt, he continues to stay involved in the scene by streaming Tetris and the occasional art project to his Twitch page, Rookout Road.
He's really nice. His streams are real, friendly. It's something you can watch with your whole family.
I saw this guy streaming named Rookout Road. I was like, yo, that's Matt Martin. And ever since, I've been, following him like crazy. He's, genuinely one of the nicest people, and he learned rolling, which is sick for a veteran.
Alongside Das as his main playstyle, in recent years, Matt has actually been a pioneer for his age group to learn rolling, becoming the oldest person ever to get a roll max out, and uploading a video to his YouTube channel with tips and tricks.
I wanted to show that that's possible for a school DAS player to then maybe get into rolling, because that's why I started the grind on that stuff. That crowd along, let's fight back. So if you learn, if you do, and you're used to DAS, and then you roll, it just flies. The piece flies, and you're like, oh, it literally felt like you unlocked a superpower.
And for Matt, live events have brought him a new favorite thing about Tetris, beyond the chill aspect and the competitive aspect.
My favorite part is just connecting to the friends you've met online, putting faces to the names that you meet.
Matt Martin is lovely. One of the sweetest people in the community.
Amazing guy, right? One of the most kind people in this community, always checking in, making sure everybody's happy, making sure everyone's content, right? Such a selfless person.
Dude, I love Matt, bro. He's generally, one of the best people in the community. I'm not just saying this, everybody else, but Matt's different, okay? He's like a homie.
I took some footage on my phone, trying to the memories and stuff. You want to remember it, you want to see it, and then you want to share it with other people. You encourage them to get out. Some of us sit at home and play a lot. And it's like, come on. But so just to kind of wrap up, it's I encourage you to meet new people, make new friends, and then also enjoy the memories, hold close to the ones that are here now and around you and all that, because you never know who you'll meet. You never know if you're meeting them the first time or the last time. Take care of each other. Be good to each other. We came for the game, and we stay for the people. But love you guys. Chill, love you.
任せておいて、任せて。頑張りますね。はいはい。どの材料どれを使う？よし。完成。どれにしようかな。これにしよう。頑張るね。任せて。任せといて。わかりました。どれにしようかな。どれにしよう。これにどれにしましょう。始めよう。
On July 5th, 2021, Rayo became the first person to beat Minecraft on a set seed in under 2 minutes. It was the culmination of tens of thousands of repeated attempts to whittle down the fastest known world seed to its bare components. The milestone of the Sub 2 was seen by many, including the game's top runners, to be the last time a new minute barrier would ever be crossed. But as we now know, these predictions were a bit off the mark. The quest for taking times as low as possible never halted for even a second, and this persistence was rewarded with possibly the greatest discovery that Minecraft speedrunning has ever seen. But the journey to that point is
Shut up, Al. It wasn't you who came up with that.
So, please bear with me. We'll start about here. 6 seconds lower and 11 months removed from Rayo's first ever Sub 2, and he was continuing his reign of terror in the set seed category. His 152, achieved on June 13th, marked his 9th set seed record since he entered the scene just over a year prior. Meanwhile, all other runners in that span account for a meager 10 records. But the unique thing about the 152 is that it was achieved on a seed that nobody even knew existed more than a week before Rayo's run. World seeds, as they're known, act as the string of numbers that generate a given Minecraft world, and this seemingly random assortment happened to correspond to the closest thing to perfection that the SSG community had seen up to this point, the Vine seed. The world itself looks rather unglamorous upon first inspection. A modestly sized village, sure, but nothing blatantly unique to start. To truly understand what makes this seed and the other ones that came before it fast enough to come anywhere close to the 2-minute mark, there's no better person to demonstrate than our very own set seed glitchless Goliath, Rayo. Though we'll be using his run to focus on the broad strokes instead of the many intricacies that are unique specifically to the Vine seed. Rayo is going to begin by scouring the village for resources, first by looting a house for a bed, which he needs 4 of in order to deal lethal exposure damage to the dragon. Then he sneaks behind a blacksmith to rid it of obsidian, which he needs 20 of. After collecting beds 2, 3, and 4, he's met by a ruined portal that intersects a blacksmith house, giving him everything he needs to construct and light his gateway into the nether at just 33 seconds in. The nether in this run acts as a sort of express lane for runners, since 1 block travels here equates to 8 blocks of distance in the overworld, so it doesn't take Rayo more than 30 seconds to get to the spot where he intends to build his return portal, a spot picked out because it'll transport him directly into the Stronghold's portal room. In any other conventional seed, Rayo would still need to craft Eyes of Ender so that he can light the end portal, but the Vine seed is one of a handful of seeds that comes pre-packaged with a portal that has all 12 eyes built in already, a 1 in 1 trillion occurrence, if not for the programs used to scout out seeds like this one. And with the resource collecting and travel time both out of the way now, all Rayo has to wait for is the dragon to swoop in diagonally and perch. And with the beds doubling as improvised explosives in the end, Rayo beats all of Minecraft in just 1 minute and 52 seconds. The ballet of countless perfect inputs performed on a seed that jumps from unremarkable to impossibly rare in just
That's not how that works out.
the blueprint for what the fastest set seed runs look like. First, a mad dash for resources in order to reach
That's
the
not what I had in mind.
dragon, followed by a journey through the nether to speed up the travel time to the fully filled end portal, followed by the dragon fight. This blueprint is the culmination of incredible optimizations in both seed finding and strategy development, but it also highlights the bottleneck for beating Minecraft any bit faster than Rayo did, as this blueprint has remained virtually unchanged since 12-eye portals were first used for set seed runs back in 2020. The biggest breakthrough since then was in finding a way to kill the Ender Dragon quickly, which manifested itself in the development of the Bed Bombing 1 cycle. But every major time cut since then has come from either a new world discovery or just plain optimization. So in reference to the earlier claims of the Sub 2 as the last-minute barrier of Minecraft, let's contextualize why those claims were made in the first place. If we try to visualize Rayo's run using its 3 distinct segments, Overworld, Nether, and End, we get something like this, with the 3 sections containing 1 block, or 1 second chunks that add up to a time of 152, 112 blocks in total. Now let's imagine a fanciful scenario where each of these 3 segments is lowered proportionally to each other to just barely cut below the 1 minute mark. What would that look like? This, a complete rewrite of what is thought to be possible. Is that even possible? What you're looking at is a tool-assisted speedrun by Technics, using manipulated luck and perfect inputs to visualize the absolute limit of Minecraft set scene. And despite making use of a dozen piglins bartering just what he needs, a route that slightly deviates from our own and a questionably fast dragon bird, the task just barely scoots under the coveted final minute threshold to beat the game in 59 seconds. We can safely say that this is not the approach that would take humans to those same times. To do so requires something just as, or even more revolutionary than the discovery of the 1 cycle, and to uncover a strategy so unlike anything seen before it, we have to look somewhere that's equally unforeseen. Not in one of the modern versions like Vine Seeds 1.16, the few updates that came right before it, or any version recent enough to have a swimming animation. That's because the actual journey to Sub 1 begins with a set of versions that you likely don't remember much of, versions that will very soon mark a new era for Minecraft set scene, but for now are only known for being a brand new split on the official leaderboards, 1.9 to 1.12. Now, you might be wondering why these versions were grouped together in the first place, and why it's taken a full 5 years for this band of misfit updates to generate any interest in the speedrunning scene, and the answer to both of those questions can be found in the concept of the version split. Minecraft is no stranger to frequent updates, as each new version brings about new strategies, new optimizations, and of course new world records. But instead of just casting the older versions aside, dedicated groups of runners continue to optimize them. To simplify things for the purposes of leaderboards and record keeping, version splits form, which segment updates by major game changes that make them similar. For instance, Find Seed runs in 1.16 and Gravel Seed runs done in 1.17 both fall